Daybreak Monday, and it's now time for us to bring you a review of the papers. We have right here in the studio Mazi Chinedum Obioha, Public Affairs Analyst, who is our analyst for this morning. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Matt, and good morning, Margaret.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure being here.
You're welcome.
Happy New Month, and
yeah, we wish
every viewer happy, blessed November.
New month.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we have the Nigerian Tribune here to kick off the show. Southeast monarchs, bishops, others list conditions for peace in Igbo land. Uneasy calm in Oyo APC over controversial Congress. Wike gives federal government 48 hours to unveil invaders of Justice Odili's house. House of Reps Committee calls for probe. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, CBN announces selection criteria for private sector companies in 100 PPP. NDLEA seizes London-bound cocaine, heroin at Lagos Airport. 7 die as 3 vehicles, 6 motorcycles, shops razed in Niger community. PDP convention fallout. Inside details of how governors aided Arakbaja to beat Oyinlola. Stop there.
All right, now we'll move on to the Business Day newspaper. It says, the big story here says, frustration grows as lack of jobs racks Nigerians. Over 1 billion units of First Bank of Nigerian Holdings shares traded in 8 days. That's on page 21. CBN begins selection of companies for 100 PPP today. Insecurity fear of manipulation, voter apathy, major issues in Anambra elections. Senate Bank's BT rises to 180 billion naira in Q3 of 2021. And now on the front page of Business Day, there's a pictorial representation of the market monitor for the Nigerian Stock Exchange and also Bitcoin. That's on the front page of Business Day. We'll stop here.
All right, the Nation next. And the major headline here is 2023 PDP governors in deft move against Atiku Saraki. Forum pushes to choose party's candidates. Rivers Reps Caucus flay siege to Odili's house. Zenith Bank posts 180 billion naira profits in 9 months. Lastly, Buhari in Glasgow for climate change conference.
And now to the Punch. The Punch says Nigeria lost 898.93 billion naira to pipeline vandalism, theft in 9 months. And the writer is saying oil firms lose thousands of barrels of crude oil to pipeline damage. Vandalism dangerous, crippling revenue generation. From experts, banks begin deduction of loans from chronic debtors' accounts. Court orders interim forfeiture of Invictus obese houses and cars. Man arrested 45 and 10-year-old left behind by mother in Ondo. Further to the bottom stream says Amotekun arrests teenager with 50-kilogram sack of Indian hemp in Osun State. Oke Odumakin welcomes twin 6 months after her husband's death. Buhari jets off to Scotland for climate change summit. And to the front to the earpiece says Bunch wins newspaper of the year, 10 orders at NMMA. Anambra decides 2021. 76,104 voters and 5 local governments may not vote, says Yaiga. Finally, on the Punch says, use Anambra Ekiti polls to boost your image, Bishop tells INEC. And that's on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. Now moving to you, Mazi. The front page of the Punch here says Nigeria lost 898.93 billion naira to pipeline vandalism and theft in 9 months. That's a lot of money to be lost, considering the economic crisis Nigeria is going through at the moment. What's your take on this story?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we're losing money from left and right. It's also unfortunate that we have not found our feet. Insecurity all over. That's a huge sum of money that can go a long way to create employment to the youths, the teeming youth that are roaming around the streets. Excuse me. Now, what has been the action of the government? What has been done to make sure that the youth are properly engaged? What has been done to checkmate the activities of illegal bunkering in the Niger Delta? All these are questions that needed to be answered by the government. We find ourselves that anything can happen in Nigeria. You can imagine such huge amount of money missing, unaccounted for. Who are stealing or who stole them, we don't know. That's why I continue saying that these are people, the ones that trouble Israel. Are you telling me that the government don't know who are involved? Are you telling me the securities are not? I have information that even those security personnel deployed to guard all those, they are multi-millionaires. Even this thing we are talking about, they are multi, just like when you post them on the road, just like what happened during the lockdown. You said all the states, no interstate movement, but the security people were making money.
How do we know that?
Yeah, how do we know? I traveled during that period. Even the governor of Kaduna State said there was no need closing the borders, interstate borders, because they are now enriching the security people, which is true. How much was from here to east? That used to be 11,000. By then, during the lockdown, it was 20,000 naira. That is what is happening. So, in summary, we have found ourselves in a very dangerous situation. For the country to be losing such amount of money within 9 months leaves much to be desired. So, government need to wake up and make sure that all the leakages are closed up, tightened up, and make sure that they are not, that the security personnel sent to those areas to man it are not part of the problems we have. It's unfortunate. And we continue to cry every now and then. Insecurity, corruption, and everything. We thought when this administration came on board, we now referred his antecedent during the 1983 and things like that. But now, let me tell you, when he came on board, that particular month he came on board, there were fears. Obasanjo, we were told Obasanjo returned about 400 million naira. Other people returned. And within the first month, there were lights all over. But when they discovered, when he refused to appoint his minister within 6 months, people say, we thought that this man has come to save us. We don't know that he doesn't know anything. So that is what is happening. So why are we losing such amount of money that's supposed to put food on the table of an average Nigerians? Why? The federal government needs to investigate and make sure they suture it and suture it well. That's the pipelines.
Well, this is just an aspect of it. From the Nigerian Tribune, Southeast monarchs, bishops, others list conditions for peace in Igbo land. This thing going on particularly in the Southeast, when I say particularly, actually I was referring to Anambra State, is not a welcome development. You know, crisis here and there. We have like a couple of days now to go to elections. What are we expecting with the situation of things, confusion all over the place?
It calls for concern and attention, urgent attention. The bishops calling, giving conditions. You see, you cannot achieve peace through war. It's through dialogue. I read last week that civil society, the newly registered security outfit they were sending 25,000 civil society and other groups sending 25,000. The police sending 35,000. The military are sending. Are we in a military area now? This is going to create more fears. Instead of solving the problem, they are creating more problems. Nat and Mark, assuming, let's say you are in Anambra, will you be able to go out and vote where you have such security, people? Forget about, are they going to do the right thing? The best thing is for the government, before now, to have called all the people involved to a round table. What do we do to achieve peace? What do we do? So that, am I not thinking that there are more to see? Are they not having second agenda or third agenda? Because in a situation where Anambra will be choked up by security forces, I travel almost every month. I know what is happening. If such number of security people are deployed in a small, tiny Anambra with 21 local governments, who will be free to move out to vote? That voters are party. Nobody will come out. So trying to achieve what you, trying to solve what you want to achieve, you are creating more problems. Because me, I will not even advise anybody to go out.
So you are you're foreseeing voter apathy.
That is number one. Security wise, are they not going to be killing innocent people? We have been seeing it all over. If not because of insecurity, I have advocated last time during the Edo election. I was in the studio when 30,000 policemen were deployed. I said, are we in a war zone? Can't we have election where people should go out freely to vote and choose their leaders?
But they are there to protect the...
No. When you are overprotected, even when you are overprotecting your child, you get the worst out of that child. Election means happiness, joy, going out to elect your leaders, those who will represent you. What I am going to see, or what we are suspecting, is that the hands of Esau and the voice of the other man will play out, where they will now use that opportunity to install the person they want.
Who are you? When you say they?
No. You see, if you can read my mind, by Skeeter Davis, if you could read my mind, I am saying that the government in place knows what they are doing.
They are trying to create
no. We say no. We say no. The Igbo people, the leaders in the Igbo extraction said, what we need is a very peaceful environment. Go and discuss. You would have discussed this security in the south before now. Instead of, the president missed a point when he went to Owerri some few months ago. He would have used that opportunity to address the Igbo leaders and they renounce or correct the impression they had about the small dot. Correct the impression, the statement he made that he would teach them the language they will understand. Referring what happened during the Civil War, who will be happy? Right. And now, this thing has been blown out of proportion. That you are sending military people, police people to rising area. And you want people to come out. What the bishops and other people are calling is for dialogue. They are saying, release Nnamdi unconditionally. And they address the issue. Don't look at the messenger, look at the message. They are calling for, justice, fairness, equity.
All right, Mazi, we have to wrap up your segment.
Thank you very
now.
much.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. But right away, we'll just go straight into the topic for discussion this morning. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has distanced itself from the invasion of the home of Justice Mary Odili. Media reports surfaced on Friday evening that Mrs. Odili's Maitama Abuja residence was raided by armed operatives of the EFCC. Reacting to the invasion, the House of Representatives Committee on Judiciary called for urgent, discreet investigation into the siege laid on the residence of the Supreme Court George. We still have with us Mazi Obioha in the studio to help analyze this statement. Now, Mazi, the source of this report quoted that the EFCC operatives armed with search warrants invaded the home of Justice Mary Odili. But now the EFCC boss has denied reports that he raided the Abuja residence of Justice Mary Odili, while the source said those were EFCC operatives and with claims of investigating her husband. So what's your take on this particular incident?
It's unfortunate that we have found ourselves again. What happened few years ago is playing out. When I had a report, when I read the news on Friday, I said, what happened during the time of the former CGN is playing out. Look at 2023 election. It's coming. I was in the studio on other platform, Star FM, when the former CGN was removed, and I said they are targeting 2019 election.
That's you're talking about Onogen.
Yes, and the same thing. We have read the point that she is the next line in hierarchy.
She's second after the CGN.
Second, yes, after that. And they said EFCC went there, invaded her homes. Who sent them? For what purpose? For what crime? Which means our judiciary is no longer safe. It has happened before, not this one.
But the EFCC boss, Abdulrashid Barra,
Forget about the denier. Forget about the denier. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. You remember what happened? Remember what happened during the first, the former CGN? You remember that all of a sudden, even before the invasion, even before then, some of the Supreme Court judges were kept. I mean, they were arrested. They were kept hostage in their homes, everywhere, ransacked. And before you know it, some of them sent to, in detention and things like that. But this one has an evil intention. The evil intention we are foreseeing is that since they know that Justice Mary Odili is the next line in action to take over the position of the Chief Justice of the Federation, that they don't want her because they don't want a Southerner or they don't want an Igbo person to occupy that position. That is the thinking of everybody. Now, Nat, if you don't want anybody to accuse you of wrong, be right, be upright. We are saying that you are saying that you don't know who sent them. Somebody sent them. If you are attacking, you must separate Mrs. Odili and Dr. Odili. They are not the same person. Yeah. This is the husband, this is the wife. Remember, the husband was accused of what his passport was impounded, seized, until the court said, release, you impounded it illegally. Now, not quite long, it's about 2 weeks now, you now, an unknown DSS, unknown policeman, went with a fake search warrant. The magistrate that issued that warrant has said, look, I gave that search warrant in error. And as I was coming to your studio here, Barrister Mondo Bane was saying that they have sat down yesterday and analyzed it. There were so many errors on that search warrant. The address was not properly done. Her name was not done. Everything. Now, in the first place, that magistrate that gave that should have been arrested, prosecuted, or even suspended. Now, the head of the Director General of DSS should have been called to order. Who were those that went there? What happened? I also read that the EFCC, the Attorney General of the Federation, Malabi, said that they had affidavit that illegal activities were going wrong in her residence. I read it. Okay. So there were so many cock and bull stories. But the point is this: what has that woman done? The governor of River State said, you cannot throw away this man like you throw away the one from across rivers. He said, if what's the name? The governor of cross river. He said, if he was sleeping and they remove his own brother, that himself woke up, he has given them for 8 hours. Yeah. These are injustices in the land. And those of us, when we come to analyze it, we analyze positive and negative. We look at how you are breathing, where you are breathing is, where you are laughing is. There must be there is no smoke without fire.
Some Nigerians are of the opinion that that action would have been politically motivated. Would you share this sentiment?
I agree no less towards 2023. Remember, the present CGN will soon retire. And we read that he has been ill. We read that Tanko has been ill. So it's likely that this man has been covering his duty. And she is the next line to take over. And remember, that was what we said when the former chief CGN was attacked, harassed from one court to the other, blah, blah. And even the present CGN was one who sat and he knew that what was done was wrong. Because they are the ones that trouble Israel. He quickly dismissed his blah, 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 and retired him compulsorily. But then after some months, all his entitlements were paid. What have they achieved? To remove them. And they went ahead, because if he was there, the 2019 election would have gone the other way. The result, the presidential election would have gone the other way. That is the judgment we had, that that you can now have ordinary testimonial from your secondary school to become the president of this country.
All right,
and the CGN said he is eminently qualified. Eminently qualified. Where the other party said, no, look at this. May God help us. There is something that is cooking, and Nigerians want to know. What we want to know is that who invaded that place? Who sent the order? What has happened?
All right, Mazi, the chairman of the House of Reps Committee on Judiciary, Honorable of Onofiok, Luke, said that the action is capable of setting the executive and the judicial arms of government on a war path. Now, do you agree with this statement from him?
I agree completely. But do you know one thing? We are sitting on a cake of gunpowder where the judiciary is being tied. They use the judiciary to truncate the election by way they impose the government in place now. And look at what we are seeing. Can't we be decent in the eyes of international community? Can't we do one thing right? Must we be a laughing stock in the eyes of other people? How can a sitting Supreme Court judge has been invaded, and you are telling me nobody's aware? You want to tell me, my friends, that before that order was issued, that search warrant was issued, are you telling me that a whole Supreme Court judge, the president wouldn't have known? Ordinarily, you mean he wouldn't have? I mean, he would have been informed. Oh God, look at what is happening.
Okay, now I was going to ask, what should have been the proper steps to be taken in order to carry out the so-called investigation?
The Judicial Commission of whatever is there, the highest organ to discipline erring judicial officers. If there are things, that was what they said during the time of Onuga, refer the matter to that committee or to that department. Who has the power? Who has the constitutional power? Who has the legal power to investigate, prosecute, and discipline? The president has no power to discipline. The president has no power to even appoint. He will only approve based on recommendations. So they write him, you follow the due process. Recommend. They will now invite her and table the allegation and give her a chance to defend herself. Look at what happened. The 3 judges who are giving contradicting judgments about Anambra and things like that. And we have not had any other thing again. Even when this Mrs. Odili said that those judges need to be sanctioned. And we have heard that they were called up to now. We don't know. Because they are beyond discipline, are beyond touched. The right thing is that prepare your documents, prepare your evidence, and send it to that committee set up by the Constitution, the highest disciplinary committee of the judiciary. They will invite her and give her this to defend herself. If she is found guilty, then you recommend either whatever disciplinary action you want, either to retire her or to prosecute her. But this one now, you have taken laws illegal.
Okay.
By your hand and be doing all sorts of things, embarrassing yourself, embarrassing the president himself, embarrassing we Nigerians, embarrassing even. That is why we have come to a conclusion that there are people who claim that they own this Nigeria.
Okay, Master, this is not the first time this is happening. You mentioned the case of the CGN in 2019, and also in 2020, Justice Mary Odili's house was also invaded. This is not like the first time this is happening. So with the recent or the almost, what's the word to use now? But okay, recent invasion of homes by security operatives, and yet nobody is coming out to say, I am the one involved, or we are the ones who sent this, or we are the ones who had to do this. Do you think that the security operatives in Nigeria need to be retrained or probably reorientated in order not to make a fool of themselves in the eyes of international communities, like you just said before now?
You see, when government wants to do some silly things, they close their eyes. And they damn the who is DSS? Is it you? Is it Mike? Is it me? The issue was, you have mentioned in 2020, our resident was also invaded by unknown people. And up to now, nobody has investigated. A top hierarchy officer of the Supreme Court. But we are talking about somebody who is the next line of action, position to take over. You look, people, they are having so many speculations that they, when they are to plan something, and now later on come to accuse her. Thank God, because of our own security there, that refused them entry. Assuming, I don't know whether she has surfaced, where we have been hearing her whereabouts unknown. Assuming that they succeeded and went in and come out, and they bring us something that this is what we find out. She would have been a laughing stock, no matter what happened. Look at what happened to the former CGN, right? I saw it, I read it, where so many foreign accounts having some bogus amounts were seen, and we started blah 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 blah. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. A whole CGN. Only God knows whether they were truth. People are thinking that they wanted to plant some certain things there. I don't know. That's what we have read, though. But if you give me a chance, I will also believe that. What your question is that if the government do the needful, those responsible should have been apprehended by now and brought to book. But there are, all animals are equal, animals farm, right? But there are more equal than others.
There are some that are more equal.
You said it. So that is what we are saying, that there are touchables are untouchable. And that is why Nigerians are saying, does it mean that these people are untouchable? These are the people who have come out boldly. I was here last week. I was there a week before the last. Who are in charge of customs, police, military, all the service chiefs, except the one from Delta, right? All the service chiefs. You go to immigration, go to MPA, go everywhere. Are they not northerners? Is it fair?
Okay, Mazi, we will come back to you to continue the show. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we continue from where we stopped.